mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. In the black community, well, we're massively overrepresented in the mental health institutions, even more so than in the prisons. And again, these are questions we have to ask. Well, why?
But once you get a control and an understanding of who you are, no one can use you against you. No one can ever use your mental illness against you. You've already spoke about it, so what you got?
The biggest point in life to resolve mental health is like giving a fuck about a person.
Where did you get the courage? I got the courage for 2 words. I care.
It's Chill Will Radio, where connections will be made, advice will be given, jokes will be told, and things will get real. My name is Willis Cooks, and I'm your host. But understand this show is not meant to be used as a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Enjoy the show, y'all. Yo. Welcome. Everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of Chill Will Radio. My name is Willis Cooks, and I am your host. Hey, I like this beat. Hey. Make me wanna and be stop. What's going on, everyone, man? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Chill Will Radio here at the Good News Radio Station, man. Shout out to everyone who is listening. Shout out to all those individuals who will be listening halfway through the show because you got something going on right now. Shout out to those individuals who are going to catch on tomorrow, the day after, this evening, next week, next year, whenever you get a chance. Good looking to you, and even more so, shouts out to all of those beautiful, fantastic, and miraculous individuals that will never hear this show ever a day within their life because they ain't caught on yet. But you will catch on eventually. I don't care if it's to my show or to the other fantastic shows here on this network. It's going to happen. You're going to catch on to it at some point within your life. But anyway, what is the deal, y'all? If you're listening, please go into the comments. Let me know you're here. Just say what up, say what's the deal. I ain't asking for much. I just always like to acknowledge those individuals who are listening and tuning in to the show. So, like I said, this Chill Will Radio, man, we're speaking on mental health, all things mental health, the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so ugly, the taboo, the difficult stuff, the thing we're not supposed to agree with, all that other reckless stuff. We're going to be talking about it here on this platform, man. So good looking. So, how am I doing? How will my week go? How did everything pop off for me this week, man? This week was kind of low-key. It was kind of dry. Yeah, it was kind of dry. It was a dry week, 100% because of what happened last Sunday with the death of Nipsey Hussle, man. Shouts out to him. It still does not feel real. It still feels weird. I mean, for me, right? Whenever I hear somebody dies, I always think the first thing that pops up in my head is like, this shit fake, right? And that goes for anybody, right? Is that this shit fake? I always think that like they just finna come walking down the street one day, just, hey, yo, what's the deal? Knowing damn well that ain't never gonna happen, But just to see, the impact that Nipsey Hussle had on everybody within the hood, on everybody within LA, man. I seen a post this week. It was speaking about how you don't understand how real this loss was if you're not from LA, and that's the biggest truth ever, man. Because I wasn't around. Well, I wasn't around. I was alive, but I didn't understand the magnitude of when Tupac died. I didn't understand the magnitude of when Biggie died or anyone else died. But Nipsey Hussle was literally like our Tupac, this generation's version of Tupac, right? And you didn't really notice it until he passed because you didn't really, I personally did not expect things to play out the way it is, the way it has been this week. Like I said earlier, this week has been kind of dry. It's been kind of like, shit, here we go again, but just to see the love and the support that he has been giving, not just from, the people within the hip-hop community or the people within LA, but just the people in general, what they was able to do to get all of the hoods. It wasn't all of them, but a big majority of them to walk down Slauson up to a shop. That was really, really dope, man. I hope that really, really lasts a good minute because for me, and I said this last week, my first thought is yo, this shit about to get ugly, right? This shit about to get ugly because what normally happens when it's some LA shit, and this is, I'm looking at this as like some typical regular LA shit, to someone else is like, yo, but this is some regular LA shit. They killing folks out here, right? So when that happened, I'm like, oh, it's about to get ugly. It's about to get nasty. I'm thinking, okay, somebody from the hood, somebody from outside his hood killed Nip, and they finna go, and it's finna be a hot mess. But nah, that wasn't the case, man. Everybody came together. The death of Nipsey Hussle brought everyone together. I also read another post saying that, you know, he did everything he did while he was alive, right? He fulfilled his mission here on this planet. Because if he didn't fulfill his mission, shit would have went south real quick. But it seemed as if once he passed, things started improving within this culture of LA, right? Within the gang culture and things of that sort. Obviously, it's still gonna be reckless out here. It's still gonna be people fighting and shooting and killing and all over this bullshit. However, the simple fact that people were able to come together, and I hope this lasts a long time, right? I don't know if it was in the 90s, I don't know when, but it was like early 90s where there was like a truce, but then that had got broken up. I hope this comes together, right? I hope this lasts a good minute, you know, for however long it may be. I mean, obviously, you got certain people who are going to rock certain ways and certain people who just don't give a fuck. I get that, you know, but all I ask is for people to not be extra. That's all I ask, is people to not be extra. But outside of that, man, my week is fine. I'm like on the umpteenth day of working straight. When's the last time I had a day off? When's the last time I had a day off? You remember? I don't know. I should take a day off, huh? I should take a day off. I don't know when the last time. My days are running together, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like I'm working these many days straight, right? Because every job is different, and I'm not working like jobs consecutively. Like, I'm not working one job 5 days a week and another job. No, it's like I'm at one job one day. Tuesday, I'm at a different job. Wednesday, I'm at a different job. Thursday, I'm at a different job. Friday, like, every day is different. So every day it kind of feels as if it's my first day on the job, you know? So it's kind of like my reset, my restart, right? That new day. So which is why it hasn't felt as bad. But, you know, I gotta work. Uncle Sam on his bread, and he gotta get his bread. So he gonna get his bread however long it take. Nah, this shit gonna be quick. I just need to give him his bread. I hate that motherfucker, man. Shouts out to all those individuals, man, who have to owe taxes, man. Shouts out to you, man. I hate all of y'all who don't have to owe anything, and I really have this hatred towards those folks who got something in return, man. I can't fuck with y'all. I can't fuck with y'all at all. But moving on forward to the self-care piece. The self-care piece of the show, man. So last week I spoke about how we need to delete individuals within our contact list, right? That we don't. Did you do it, Didier? You shake your head. Shouts out to my man Didier, man. He did it, man. We need to delete those individuals within our contact list that we don't hit up or that we don't talk to. And we need to block those individuals within our contact list that, you know, the last memory of them or our last interaction was something negative. And if we don't care for that relationship, block them. No need to, you know, hang on to it or whatever. Block it. Delete them out your life. And it ain't going to make you better or any greater anyway. So let it go. Let it loose. Ain't going to hurt your soul. Right, so that's what I spoke about last week. But this week, for those individuals who are in your phone, send a positive message to them. Right, hit someone up, tell them something dope. Right, it ain't got to be much. You ain't got to send this long paragraph. You don't have to send this long essay. No, hit them up, tell them something dope. Hey, I see you. You great. Hey, I love you, bro. Hey, I love you, sis. Hey, I seen what you're doing on Instagram. Hey, I seen you rocking in school. Hey, you finna graduate. My man, you know, do whatever you gotta do, but just hit someone up and let them know that, you know, you see them, right? Because this thing, like, we get so caught up in the way we move and how we move. Sometimes we just want to be heard and we want to be seen, right? We want to be heard and we want to be seen, right? But we want to be heard and we want to be seen by someone that we actually care about, someone that means of some importance, right? Because the stranger up the block might see me, or the people on Instagram might see me, you know, but it means that much more if my brother says, like, yo, Willis, I see you. It means that much more if my girl says, yo, Willis, I see you. It means that much more if Diddy or if Keith or anybody else on my block, any of my homeboys hit me up and be like, yo, Willis, I see you. Keep it moving, man. Good looking. You know, with everything that you do, you know, keep it moving. It means that much more. And then, frankly, you don't know where anybody is at within their life. We don't know. We always tell people half, probably less than half of what we're truly going through or how we're truly feeling. I know with me, I tell people 5 to 10% of how I'm feeling about a situation. I even tell my girl 5 to 10% of how I'm feeling about the situation. I'm trying. That shit hard. So you never really know where someone is at. So throwing that negative, what the hell? Throwing that positive energy out there. Giving that positive energy to someone. Telling someone like, I see you. Letting someone know that, hey, I see that it's looking kind of shaky for you right now, but you got it. You can continue to move forward. You're going to continue to be great. You're going to continue to be dope. Let that person know. Let that person know where they at. Let that person know to keep moving. Let that person know to keep moving forward. Because what's going to happen is that you never know where they at. They may be on their last lap, right? They may be in their head thinking like, yo, I'm finna quit. I'm finna say, fuck it. I'm finna give up. But that little text message, you don't have to give them a phone call. That little text message that you send them, that little 2 sentences or whatever, yo, that's gonna be the dopest thing that they gonna hear. And that's going to be that one thing that's going to push them through their depression. That's going to be the one thing that push them through, you know, their problems with anxiety or psychosis or their problems with life or their problems with the family or their problems with issues at job, their problems with issues with their girl or whatever. That one little quick little message is going to give that person the ability to not quit.
Give yourself a present.
Right? That thing is going to give that person the ability, the oomph, the push, the whatever, to not quit. And that's what you need. I do not like this dude talking in the background while I'm preaching. You feel me? But anyway, that's what you got to do, right? Send a positive message to someone. Hit them up. Let them know you love them. Let them know you see them. Let them know you care, because what you never want to happen is be that one individual who never hit someone up. And then that one time you hit them up, it's because you're asking for something. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that never hits someone up. But then when you do hit someone up, it's because you're asking for something. Hey, I need a favor. Hey, can you do this? Hey, I need to borrow some bread. Hey, I need to do this. What? No. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. And that right there kind of sends a message to that other person. Is like, yo, this is where the relationship is at. You know, granted, we don't know where that other person may be within their life. They may have probably really, really hit some shit, so they know they can come holler at you to pull through, to help them out. But yo, you gotta give, and then ask, right? Gary Vaynerchuk got a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. That's a very, very dope book. Everyone should read it, right? It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. The premise of the book is you need to give, and then ask. That ask is the hook. So you need to give them everything. Give them these positive messages. Give them this positive energy. Give them this dope vibes. Give them all of this other stuff. And then when you need something, hit them up. Like, yo, homie, I need this. I need that. You know, I'm kind of low right now. Let me borrow a few bucks. That person isn't going to feel as bad to help you out, because they know that you think of them when they're not even thinking of you, right? It's a beautiful thing to know someone is thinking of us when we aren't even thinking of them. Beautiful thing in the world, man. Beautiful thing in the world. Beautiful thing in the world. So, moving on forward to the main topic of the show today. Comparing ourselves, man. We all do that. We all do that. I do it. My girl does it. Didier does it. Shoot, the anybody that's listening to it, we all do it, right? We all at some point do it within our lives. But why do we do it? How can we stop doing it? Is it really a bad thing or a negative thing? I'm going to tell you this. It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing to compare ourselves to someone else. It's a very, very natural thing to compare ourselves to someone else. The reason why it's a natural thing to compare ourselves to someone else is because the number one thing that we are trying to do is to understand ourselves a little bit more, right? The number one thing we're trying to do is to understand ourselves a little bit more, trying to figure out what we like, trying to figure out what we dislike, trying to figure out how good we are in this field, trying to figure out if I'm working hard enough, trying to figure out if I am this dope of a person, right? Because we are in situations to where it's like we get very, very insecure because we don't know where we're at. So in order to figure out how we have to do it, we have to look at someone else to figure out where we are at, right? It is kind of the only way we have to do it, right? We compare ourselves because we have to figure out where we are at, and the only way to be able to do that is if we look in reference to someone else. I have to look at Didier and see where he's at to figure out where I'm at, to figure out if I'm going down the right track, to figure out if I'm going down the right boat, right? Because if I don't, I'm not going to know where I'm going to be at, right? So it's just a natural thing to compare ourselves to everyone else. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker with it all, right? There's an unhealthy side of comparing ourselves, and then there's the healthy side of comparing ourselves, right? Obviously, we should all know what the unhealthy side of comparing ourselves is. And we get to that unhealthy side when we look at someone as if we're better than that person, right? We're looking at that person through a self-enhancement lens, right? I'm looking at you to compare myself to you so I can better enhance myself, so I can boost my own self-esteem. Yo, that is always going to go left. That is always going to go bad, right? When I'm looking at the next person to try to boost my self-esteem, you don't need to look at the next person and try to boost your self-esteem. You need to look more into self. But it is tough. It's tough to look into self because we get scared of what we're going to see. We get scared of the things that we have to deal with. We get scared of those feelings that come across. We have to deal with our regrets. We have to deal with our guilts. We have to deal with, just how we look. Nobody wants to deal with that shit. Nobody wants to. So because we're not safe within our own skin, what we're going to do is we're going to negatively compare ourselves to someone by looking at us as better than that other person. But we're only going to look at someone if they're within that same field, right? I'm not comparing myself to Jay-Z. I'm not a rapper. I'm not trying to be a rapper. I got bars. Y'all don't want this work. But I'm not comparing myself to Jay-Z. I'm comparing myself to other therapists. I'm comparing myself to other black men who are my age, right? We are only going to compare ourselves to those individuals who we share the same lens with, I guess. Who we share the same, who we are within the same culture with, I guess, right? Because we want to figure out how we are next to that individual. But when we're comparing ourselves, when we're looking at that other person as someone who we're better than, we're just going to get hurt. And then when we start to not look, when we try to tell ourselves like, hey, I know I'm looking at this person in a negative route, so let me back up. What's going to happen is all of those envious feelings are going to start to come up because you've never really dealt with that piece right there. You never really dealt with that low self-esteem. What you did is you just tried to block it out. And if you try to block it out, everything is just going to turn internal. And if it turns internal, shit just going to blow up. So that little comparison that you have with the next person is going to turn to something envious. It's going to turn to you envying, if I'm saying the word correctly, envying that person, right? And then once you start envying that person, and things are going to go south. Period. With this situation that happened with Nipsey Hussle, 9 times out of 10 is probably because of someone that was envious of Nipsey. Probably someone because they hated Nipsey. They hated Nipsey that much because they hated themselves. They kept comparing themselves to Nipsey. They believe like, man, I'm better than Nipsey. I can rap. I'm better than Jay-Z. I got this. And whoop-de-whoop-whoop. But they see Jay-Z and Nipsey and all these other rappers getting all this shine, getting all this money, getting all these shows, doing all these things, but you ain't getting none of the respect that you think you deserve. Oh, you finna be hot. You finna be pissed off. Right? That's the unhealthy side of it. And we have to understand that in order to get away from that unhealthy side, we have to look at ourselves first. Where do we stand? How confident am I within my field, right? And if I am not confident in my field, what do I have to do to get better? If you're looking at someone and you start to notice yourself comparing yourself to them within a negative light by saying, hey, I'm better than that individual. No, take a step back and figure out where are you weak at? Because I have patients all the time. I have friends all the time, even myself, right? One of the things that I used to do when I first graduated from college, I used to look at my homeboys and my homegirls like, oh, they traveling, they got houses, they got a nice job. Meanwhile, my ass is still in grad school, in an apartment, in cold-ass Cleveland, not really doing much, right? But going to school and making a little money and doing whatever I was doing. But here's the thing. Everybody's cards is dealt differently. Everybody has a different role. What I'm doing, that next person may not be capable of handling what I'm handling. Just like I may not be capable of handling what that other person is handling at that time, right? Everybody is granted certain gems at certain moments when they can handle it, right? And if you can't handle it, that's because you just weren't ready for it at that moment. But when we can't handle something, what we do is we're going to try to sit there and sabotage that individual, try to talk shit about that person, try to make that person feel bad because we ourselves are not in that correct place. A lot of it when it comes to this unhealthy side of comparing someone is because we aren't good, right? My patients, especially the black patients, right, who are my age, they look at me like, damn, I should be where you're at. You know, you have this job, you look like you have a nice career, you have a cool little car, you look like you got your stuff together, and because I don't feel this way about myself, because I'm depressed, because I feel like shit, me looking at you is making me feel even more like shit. Your greatness is a trigger for me because I know that I'm not great, right? Your greatness is a trigger for me because I know that I'm not great. So I'm finna sit here and talk shit about your greatness behind your back. I'm going to sit there and just be mad at you. But we got to stop doing that. We have to understand that when it comes to looking at someone else, it always goes back to self. Start there. You have to lie to yourself before you lie to anyone else. You have to tell yourself that you ain't shit before you start to tell somebody else that they ain't shit. Right? We have to understand a hater is a hater because what they're doing nothing but projecting the way they feel onto someone else. A hater is a hater because they're doing nothing but projecting the way they feel onto someone else. I don't like myself like that, so fuck you. I'm not messing with myself like that, so fuck you. I don't feel like I'm a good therapist, so fuck you. Fuck all those other therapists who get in this scene and, everything else. I done failed my test and you passed it, so fuck you. I don't care. Nah. We not even really mad at that person. That's the other thing we got to understand. When it comes to comparing ourselves, we're not even mad at that person. We're mad at us. But we figure out all these weird little ways to just not really dive into self. So the way we do that is by telling someone else that they ain't shit. And we're going to keep doing it for years and years and years. The next thing you know, 10 years done passed by and you never dealt with your shit. So now you're sitting there depressed. Now you're sitting there mad. Now you're sitting there regretful. Now you want to sit there and possibly take someone's life. Because you mad at what you ain't doing. That's your problem, homie. Period. But that's the unhealthy side. The healthy side of comparing ourselves to someone, and I especially used to do this when I first got on this mic, right? When we compare ourselves, when we look at that other person as a benchmark of where I need to be, that's a healthy level of comparison, right? When I first started to get on this mic, when I first started to do this little joint, I used to listen to a bunch of different podcasts, a bunch of different radio shows, and the first thing that used to pop in my head was like, yo, this shit is whack. Y'all boo-boo. I could do better than them. That's going to push me to do better. When I'm looking at this situation like, man, I could do this, and I go out and do it, right? We got to look at that individual as motivation, right? That's that self-evaluation piece. We try to evaluate where we are at and use that other person as a benchmark to evolve, right? Big Mill say this all the time, and I used to not really understand it, but I understand it now. Big Mill used to say this, well, he still even says this, the reason why he posts all this bling, and damn, I haven't used the word bling in a while. Fuck, shouts out to Lil Wayne. The reason why he posts his change and him getting on these private flights and all of these cars and what he doing and his money and all of this other stuff is to show other people that you can get that too, right? Because when you're in a situation to where you're similar, when you're of the majority of folks, and the majority of folks ain't got no bread, the majority of folks is broke out here, when you're of the majority of the folks, that person who is broke needs to be able to see someone just like them so they can be able to grow. They need to be able to see someone just like them so they can compare themselves to that person, set that person as a benchmark so they can move forward, which is why Nipsey Hussle was so dope. I ain't seen him grow up, but the people that grew up within that neighborhood, they seen Nipsey Hussle when he was at that shopping center, when he was selling CDs and when he was selling dope and when he was selling incense out of his car. All of his little homies seen him. But as he got older, he started to elevate. He started to evolve. He started to get more money. He started to become smarter. That's what everybody needs to see. They need to see someone like them grow into something dope. So that way that other individual can be that inspiration. But when we're not seeing someone that's like us grow into something dope, we're just going to be pissed. We're going to start to think that I will never, ever get out of this situation because no one else like me has, right? That's why Nipsey Hussle was so dope, because everyone's seen his growth. Everyone's seen it, right? And those little homies on the block, little homies on the corner, they could compare themselves to Nipsey Hussle, right? Nipsey Hussle was that benchmark. Everybody was saying Nipsey Hussle was the blueprint, but Nipsey Hussle was also that benchmark for people to say like, yo, you was there, but you can also get here, right? Same with my patients. Right? I self-disclose a lot in a lot of my groups and a lot of my sessions. And I firmly believe self-disclosing is very, very dope and it's very, very effective if you know how to do it. I self-disclose to let that other individual know. I self-disclose that other individual know that, yo, there's no difference between me and you. There's no difference between, where I come from and where you come from. None at all. Right? We kind of are in the same shoes. We was raised in the same boat, raised in the same neighborhood. But I pushed through my situation. Therefore, you can too. You can as well. And that's where it has to be. Right? So we have the self-enhancement piece, right? The unhealthy side of it. When we're looking at someone as, hey, I'm better than you. Right? I'm better than you. So I'm going to negatively compare myself to you. And I'm going to be mad at the fact that you're doing all these great things and I'm not. But we also have to look at people from that self-evaluation piece. We also have to look at people and say, hey, I fucks with what you're doing. You're that benchmark of where I need to see, because we all need somewhere to go. And if we don't see someone that looks like us at a certain point, we're not going to believe that we can go there, right? That's why Jay-Z is important. That's why Nipsey was important. That's why all of these positive black role models in the hood is important. That's why anybody is important, right? Anybody. That's why having a mentor is so important. So you can have something to chase. So you can have something to go to. So you can have something to let you know that, hey, I need to work on this. So that way I can move even more forward, right? We have to look at it this way, because if we don't, we're going to get envious, right? My man Diddy, he said, I compare my work ethic. I'll say the things like, I feel like I've done it all. I can think of, I feel like I've done I feel like I've done all I can think of, then see someone else doing it a different way. Hey, you're right? But here's the thing when it comes to something like that, Didier, is that it's like what I said earlier. We're all given different sets of cards, right? No matter how different the cards look, we all have to understand that even though we're given that a different set of cards, we're all going to have the same goal, right? We're all going to end up in the same place, right? Even though you may feel, and even myself, even though I may feel that I'm better than the next person, my route is a little bit different. My process may take a little bit longer, and that's fine, right? That's fine, because if we focus on where we're at now and where that other person is at, we're going to start to look at that person and be mad, like, you ain't have to go through the shit I had to go through. You ain't have to deal with this and have to deal with that. So fuck you and your journey, right? You ain't shit, right? And all these other things. But we have to understand that everything is different, right? An example I gave earlier was that some of my friends have houses now. Some of my friends are married now. Some of my friends have families. Some of my friends have dope jobs. Some of my friends are traveling and things like that. I have to understand that I'm going to get to that point. But before I got to that point, I had to take care of something first, which is probably school, which is how I felt internally, which was my self-esteem, which is all of these things that I've had to take care of. Because if I sit there and try to run another person's race, if I try to sit there and hop on another person's plane, or chase somebody else's dream, my shit is gonna be whack. My shit is gonna be boo-boo, right? My shit is gonna be boo-boo. So what I have to understand is that what is meant for me is meant for me, and what's not meant for me ain't gonna come, right? It's not gonna work out. It's not meant for you to do that thing at this specific point in time. Not meant for it at all. So be confident in where you're at now, and look in the self if you catch yourself feeling negative about someone. Because if you don't look in the self, and if you don't have that introspective, that real conversation with that man in the mirror, shit is gonna go left, all the way left, right? So when it comes to understanding how to stop comparing ourselves to other individuals, obviously we have to look into ourselves and ask ourselves, like, yo, how insecure am I within my situation, right? How confident am I within this craft that I'm doing, right? I'm confident in what I'm doing now. I am. But I also know that I have a long way to go. So I can't compare myself to people like Joe Rogan, or other individuals who've been doing talk radio, or other individuals who've been doing podcasts for years. I've been doing this shit for, this is the 26th episode, 26 weeks. Man, I'm still a baby, an infant in this thing. I got time. We all got time to grow. Another thing you have to understand is that, you're not really comparing yourself. This is how I think you should look at it, because this is how I look at it. You're not really comparing yourself. What you're really doing is you're comparing your ideas to someone else, right? You're not comparing yourself, you're comparing your ideas to someone else. Your ideas of where you're at within that moment. See, our ideas are constantly going to change. The way we feel about ourselves at that moment is constantly going to change, right? So you're not even really comparing yourself. It's how you feel about yourself within that moment. But what we also have to understand is kind of what I've been saying this whole time. When we compare ourselves, what we normally are doing, we're just confirming the way that we feel about ourselves. When we compare ourselves, all we're doing is just confirming the way we feel about ourselves. If I compare myself to that other person and I say I dislike that person, what I'm doing is, and I'm just confirming the fact that I dislike myself. If I compare myself to that next person and I say, yo, that person should not be that far ahead, right? That person should not be there. I'm better than that person. That person ain't shit. That's just how I feel about myself. That's just how I feel about myself, right? That's how you feel about yourself. All of this stuff is how we feel about ourselves internally, period. That's why everything starts with self. Everything starts with self. And if you're not right with self, you're going to always be looking at other people as if you're better than them. Because you know for a fact you're not as great as you think you are. Period. You're not where you think you should be. But does that mean you're never going to get to that position? No. That just means your route and your path is a little bit different. But you're so sidetracked at the fact that, my man Diddy over here is doing all these great things and I ain't doing shit. You're more focused on what they're doing and you're not focused on yourself. The number one way to really stop comparing yourself to others, or to stop negatively and unhealthily, if that's a word, comparing yourself to someone else, is to look into yourself and figure out where you're insecure at. Figure out where you're bad at, because it's the hardest thing in the world to get very, very introspective, but it's the most rewarding thing ever. It's the most rewarding thing ever. So, Didier, man, you make it seem like I can't spell. Yeah, we all have grammar issues, my man. But moving on forward to the question, right? And as always, this is a question in which I don't make up prior to the show. This is the question in which I come up because of the energy, the vibes, and all that other stuff that, come up with all the other stuff that, fuck. There you go. I had a little crick in my neck, my bad. But this question that we have, is it something I come up prior to the show? It's something that I come up with during the show because of the energy and the vibes that I get from the show. So, question I have for you all. If comparing ourselves to someone is so miserable, then what you need to look at is the motivation behind why you're comparing yourself to that person. Right? If comparing yourself to someone is so miserable, then what you need to look at is the motivation behind why you are comparing yourself to that individual. If you're comparing yourself to that individual because you feel like shit, if you're comparing yourself to that individual because you don't think you're dope, if you're comparing yourself to that individual because, I don't know, you just think you're farther along than where you should be, start there. Look at where that's at, right? And do that. Because if you don't start there, you're going to just go to the left. And things are going to get bad. Really, 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 really bad. Right? Banana, I love you too, man. Shouts out to my homegirl Banana, man. As always, man, thank you to everyone that's tuning in. You know, shouts out to those individuals who tuned in towards the middle of the show. Shouts out. God, this lady is really singing in the background. Okay, let me move forward. But shouts out to those individuals who tuned in the whole show. Shouts out to those individuals who tuned in halfway to the show. And even more so, shouts out to those individuals who ain't going to tune in at all. As always, man, my name is Willis. This is Chill Will Radio. Understand this, ain't no wealth without your mental health. So please stay blessed and take care of yourself. Be great, y'all. Peace.